Everyone. Hello or good morning. Welcome to this
Oh,
virtual Zoom room with me. I'm Luciana, and today we have Tim here. Hi, Tim. Nice to
hi.
see you. It's always such a pleasure
Thanks, Luciana.
to be with you. Yeah, really. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to all those who are watching us on YouTube or Facebook. You're most welcome to join us here. You know most of all that there is a link for Zoom. You can just jump here with us. I don't know what to say. I will leave Tim to speak, but I would like to ask something if it's okay, Tim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I saw something today. You posted something, and I was just laughing. And can I share it? And just a small
Well,
request to
no,
elaborate on this,
yeah,
please.
yeah, by all means share it. That'll give me something to talk about straight away.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
sit
So
and think, I don't know what I'm going to say.
okay. So here we go. One of the illusions of awakening is that it can be gradual or spontaneous. Both are simply stories of no significance when times really is that.
Yeah, I wrote that at the hospital this afternoon.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could speak a bit about that. Thanks,
Yeah,
Luciana.
please. Yes, please.
And Luciana stepped in at the last minute to sort of be a co-host, which is nice. Thank you
Oh,
very much.
thank you. It's always a pleasure. I almost forgot to say that we will have an hour with Tim today.
Yeah, we'll just go for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll finish at 6 p.m. British time. Yeah, I wrote that post this afternoon because I have a number of, quite often people ask me about my story, my awakening story, my story of liberation, my story of enlightenment, whichever is your favorite word. How was it? Was it quick? Was it slow and drawn out? Or was it spontaneous? Well, I mean, every human being's story is just that. It's just a story. And reading significance into spontaneity or gradual or fast or slow, seemingly in time, is of just utterly no significance whatsoever to what we're speaking about. Because what we're speaking about is that time is illusory. I mean, you hear so often in non-duality about the self being an illusion, that I am is the illusion. But along with I am goes time. They're the same illusion. They're the illusion of continuity. And I'm not suggesting that if the illusion is seen through, or that time seems to no longer seem as real as it did, that time would not appear, that it wouldn't appear that it's nighttime and then it's daytime, daylight, that the dawn wouldn't appear. But it is just very obvious that it's just appearing, and that this appears just how it is. And the appearance is ever changing. And the ever changing is completely unchanging. Like all things in non-dual, it's totally paradoxical. Everything changes, but what the things... Sorry? Why did I say that? Oh, she's gone. So the changing and the unchanging, the stillness and the movement, the difference and the same, all of those opposites are not two. But the appearance stays the same. That's the terrible dilemma when you're a seeker, because you're waiting for it to appear differently. Well, this has nothing to say about appearances. Appearances are just as they appear. That's it. This isn't saying anything about appearances. It's saying the appearances are not only what they appear to be, they're also nothing. So all the things appear to be things still, but it's, and don't ask me how, it's obvious, it's simply obvious that they're also absolutely empty. So in that sense, the absolute and the relative are not two. You could say that's the ultimate not two. So non-duality is saying that all opposites aren't real, that they're just relative opposites. And in the relative, opposites still seem to appear, but they're just appearances. And maybe the difference with this message than some others is that the appearance and the absolute are not two. The appearance is the emptiness. The thingness and the no thingness they're not one, they're not two. And it can sound like, okay, so I've worked that out after years of studying. I've worked that out. But what's trying to be communicated is that there is no working that out. There is no understanding of that. This is not comprehensible. You cannot grasp it. I tried so hard to get what's being spoken here, and I can't emphasize enough, I did not get it. That's really what we're speaking of. And the whole illusion of self is that I could get it. There is no it to get. Emptiness is not an it. Nothing is not an it. I know they're words. They're just the best we've got in the futile attempt to express the inexpressible, or as my friend says, to F the ineffable, which I do like that because I like the F word. You may have noticed if you've heard me speak before. So you can't F the ineffable. It's effing ineffable. And there is a great, although this sounds serious, it's not serious. Life is immeasurably lighter when everything is nothing. And the other immeasurably lighter element of this is that there is only what's happening. So that's the relative, the appearance, the what's happening. There is only that. And that, which is all there is, isn't happening. Now, if that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what will. There's nothing more amusing than that. I mean, God is having a joke. He's having a right laugh. If I believed in God, God's having a laugh. But it's not, because it can sound cruel and it can sound, this message can sound uncompassionate, but it's not at all. It's quite the opposite. And most bizarrely, the not happening is love. That's the unconditional, the unmoving, the silent, the completely still. You could say the death, but every time you mention death, people go, oh, like it's, you know, to be feared, but there is nothing to fear. When everything is already nothing, how could, you know, death, which most cells fear death, that it's the emptiness, the abyss, the void, where it's very obvious I couldn't exist. When it's obvious, oh no, that's here, that's not somewhere else, that's not waiting for me. There's nothing to wait for. There's just life happening and not happening. How brilliant is that? It's simply not happening for you or me. Just life happening. So really all we're speaking about is the end of waiting. Waiting for something else to happen. Well, there's no more guarantee than nothing else is going to happen. There's only this happening. Full stop. That's it. That's the whole message, really. I mean, no wonder no one wants to listen. There's no room for optimism at all. But again, so that's, you know, oh, how dreadful. It's so pessimistic. No, the death of optimism is the death of pessimism. Pessimism only exists because you want to be optimistic, or you could be optimistic. Without hope, hopeless is equally dead. This is neither hopeful nor hopeless, optimistic nor pessimistic. It's utterly neutral. Life could not give a shit about your hopes, dreams, desires, optimism, pessimism, nihilism. Couldn't give a shit. And if only a few more human beings could see that not giving a shit, not me, but life, nothing is nothing. So how would it care? And that not giving a shit is love. Because of course nothing is absolutely unconditional. It's nothing. And of course, if you're waiting for it, you'll wait a long time. Because there's no finding. So you're waiting to find, and you've heard that you're waiting to find nothing. Well, when nothing appears, you won't notice, because it will seem to be nothing. There's nothing to see. There is the whole energy of self is that there's more to find. There's something. I'm missing something. Well, no, there's nothing more to find. There's nothing hidden. This isn't hiding. Where the hell would it hide? So if you're listening to various speakers, including this one, it may seem that, oh, well, they've got it, and so I could get it. That is as far from what is being attempted to be communicated here as you could possibly get. This is the impossibility of finding. You could call it a complete giving up, a complete surrender, but that's misleading, because self would not surrender to this, because there's nothing in it for me. And surrendering, I know what my surrendering was like. My surrendering was always like, well, what's the deal then? What am I going to get out of it? So if I surrender, there must be some peace treaty here. You know, if I wave the white flag and give up the search, then there must be some payoff. So what am I going to get out of it? Well, you're not going to get anything out of it. There actually is nothing to get out of life. There is no one to get anything out of life. There's just life. Well, I quite enjoyed that. I don't know about you lot, but I quite enjoyed saying that.
Yeah,
I don't always enjoy what comes out, but I did quite enjoy that.
it's enjoyable. There are a lot of questions here or and comments. Also, we have Eligio here raising his hand, but just a second. I'm going to read just a couple of them.
Eligio's always got his hand up. Leave him for a minute.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to read some comments here. Yeah, there is a love flowing here from the screen for you. Love your team. This is from some words. Blessings from Nesaya or something from YouTube, and then from Freddie from Facebook. You said time doesn't exist, and then you said that we are going to end at 6 p.m. UK time.
Yeah. No comment.
All right.
Right. Okay, Freddie, time, relative time exists. Yeah, absolutely doesn't though. Freddie, I mean, okay, I'll say a little bit more. So relatively, there's the appearance of time. That's it. Absolutely, there is no time. And they're not separate. So you know, we will say one thing about this is the end of giving a shit about what's real and whether it's real or not. You just couldn't care less. Real falls into unreal. You just don't. So I was always, as a seeker, what I wanted to know most was what was real, what was true. And I really wanted to know. Don't fob me off with half truths and half realities. I want to know the difference between illusion, real and unreal. And really what we're speaking of is there's no knowing that. That's it. And if it is so glaringly obvious that that's not unknowable, this absolute reality, then you couldn't give a shit about relative realities. You just couldn't care less. Just seems a waste of time. Just seems like you're wasting your life, you know, trying to find something that's not. So Freddie, yeah, this isn't the inability to talk in relative terms, because all language and all communication is all relative. So you could say the only absolute way of being is silence. But then you still have to eat and go to the toilet. You know, it's all relative, isn't it? The body's all relative. So you can't, there's no escape. This is a message about the impossibility of escape as well. Whereas a lot of spiritual paths are generally about escaping into something better. Whereas what's being said here is that there is absolutely no possibility of escape. There is just this life. And anything else is fantasy, that's all. And the fantasies are also just this life, fantasizing about something other than this life. And there is just this being human. This is not speaking about anything transcendent, anything. I don't have any sense that it's spiritual, although some people say, feel it. I've just read "Fuck You, Tim" from Alicia. Can you not do that while I'm in full flow, Alicia? Because I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. It's put me right off my stride. How rude. Okay, sorry, that was a long answer to Freddie. I wasn't even going to say anything.
All right. There is a question here. Can you talk about the Big Bang? This is from Kane's iPhone, and he sent this to me. I don't know, to me. Okay, Kane, if you're here, you can unmute yourself.
Does he mean the TV show? Because I could talk about.
I don't know. I don't know. Can you talk about the Big Bang? Thanks.
I can't talk about the scientific theory, but I can talk about the show with the nerdy physicists because I like that. I haven't got anything to say about the big. Oh, okay. I could say, okay, if I was theorizing, so now I'm a theoretical astrophysicist. Yeah, like hell I am. I'm a failed PE teacher. So what would I know about the Big Bang Theory? I mean, talk to scientists if you want to know. But if I was guessing, I would say, yeah, this is the Big Bang. Scientifically, still banging. There you go. That's my attempt of physics, astrophysics for today.
Thank you.
So it's just emptiness banging.
There is a question here also for the is the golf swing fundamentally empty? From YouTube. Question: is the golf swing fundamentally empty? I just skipped some of the comments that I didn't like, so I go straight to this question. Sorry.
Yeah. Skip all the offensive ones and go straight to the.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Of course, no.
No. Oh, so I didn't even get the question. Say it once more, Luciana.
Is the golf swing fundamentally empty?
Who said that?
From YouTube. Let me check. I don't know. This is from YouTube, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I do know.
From Michael Parker.
Well, Michael, I do know that the more thoughts there are about a golf swing, the less effective it is. And that would go for everything. You may have found your greatest success was when you weren't trying. I think everyone's experienced that. Like, what the hell happened there? I wasn't even trying. It was just incredible. Whatever you're doing, what happened there? Well, it's just the absence of you saying how it should be done. Well, you know, without the intrusion of me insisting that I know best and I stay in control. So there's just natural freedom then. That's just another story, but nearly everyone I speak to, they have had that experience, whether it's in music or art or, you know, or sport or anything else, or cooking or anything. You know, you can be totally absent while making a cake, and then there's this wondrous cake. You don't even know where it's come from.
There is a question here from Walter. Could you share a story about how Tim apparently still gets caught up in stories?
Walter, you're trying to undermine my guru status by telling stories about how I'm caught up in the story, and, you know, my the really obvious ones. I can't remember who said it, but there is a famous quote from someone spiritual. Someone will tell me in a moment. If you, I've got a feeling it might be Eckhart Tolle. No, it's someone else. If you think you're enlightened, then go and spend a weekend with your mother. I like that. So if you wanted to see me fully unenlightened and incredibly human, then yeah, if I had a fly on the wall camera with my mother, I think some of you wouldn't tune in to me again, probably. You shouldn't swear as much at your 86-year-old mother as I do, that's for sure. But I say it's because we're, you know, I've lost all respect for her and I just love her. So of course, with people you love, you can swear as much as you like. I'm using that as an excuse. But yeah, I think with family. So there's just an example. I won't bore you with specifics. I did throw her coat at her in the pub beer garden this afternoon, and the zip caught her on the ear and she swore at me. So, you know, that's pretty human. That kind of thing. I will say this isn't about, I hear a lot, there's a lot of talk about the story being the problem. Stories are no problem at all. The problem with the story is that it's my story. And it's saying something about me. It's significant because it's mine. And it means this. These thoughts about this story has come up and what it means and what I should do about it. That's the problem. A story in itself is no problem at all. We're not talking about stories not happening anymore. That's the relative. And that relative is completely empty. So life is empty stories happening. That's the whole of life, really. And when all the stories are empty, they have an equality that they could never have for me, because the only important story was mine, my story. I would listen to your story, you know, begrudgingly, appearing to care, but I didn't really care. I was really always relating it to my story. Most people, if you tell your story to you, what are the first thing they do? They take your story and they relate their story, which is one bit, you know, slightly more impressively worse than your own story. That's a favorite of most selves. Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that happened to me, but mine was quite a lot worse than that. Because I can only relate to story in relation to myself. Whereas everyone's story is empty. And stories are just interesting then. Stories are what they are, but they're not they've lost all their weight. And I mean that in the grand, you know, in the grander scheme of things as well, you know, world stories, world news stories. Or conspiracy stories. A lot of my friends love those. Can't think anything more boring. It's all imagination. But for me, you know, how special I feel in my, I know what's really happening. Not that, and you know, looking down my nose at the poor fools who listen to mainstream media and believe it to be true. I've got a lot of my mates are like that. And I just go, oh, what time's golf? I'll go. Or shall I put the kettle on? Anyway.
Shall I go on with questions and comments, or shall Eligio, his hand is all, or
Eligio, is he, do you want to say so? Do you want to say something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself?
Hello, how are you guys doing today?
Hi, Eligio. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm having a good time today. So, okay, I got two questions.
Yeah.
In golf, in the game golf, or if you want to call it a sport.
I know you've told me that it's not a sport. Skip over that.
Okay. Do you address the ball or do you become the ball?
Good. I definitely don't become the ball, no. Because I like to smack hell out of the ball, and I wouldn't want that happening to me. Yeah, I still address them. I will say the thing that's changed, my golf, it did seem to get better. So I was thinking, of course, you know, non-duality is one thing I could promote. Non-duality is to improve your golf handicap. You know, there's a lot of golfers in the world.
Yeah, sure.
But then it plummeted and went dreadful again. So yeah, there's no direct correlation between liberation and excellent golf.
Okay, I'll cross that off my list.
Yeah, cross that one.
And my second question is,
yeah,
am I still not here already?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yes, you are not still here already. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
see you
good.
later.
Yeah, that's
Bye.
nice. Cheers, Eligio.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Eligio. Thank you. There is a question here from Michaela, maybe Michaela Church. Could you say something about cause and effect, please? For example, if I drink lots of wine and wake up with a hangover, was it not the wine's fault?
If I drink lots of wine and wake up with, was it the wine's fault? Well, you wouldn't be if you blamed the wine, you wouldn't be the first. Because with cause and effect, it's very simple with cause and effect. It's got to be somebody's fault. So really with the wine drinking, so you've got a range of options. Self has a range of options to blame for the hangover. Number one is me, of course. So that's usually what I do. You get, I mean, most people with a hangover, it's accompanied by great anxiety and, you know, self-loathing. Oh, no, I always do this, you know, and a real, you know, self-pity, a mixture really, self-pity and self-loathing. Self with a hangover is a pretty horrible creature. But I could blame the wine, I could blame my friends. And the whole thing about cause and effect is what it does, when cause and effect seems absolutely real, what it does is it allows me to have the self have the comfort of knowing whose fault it was. So who's to blame? And so even with, you know, natural disasters, say a lightning strike, there's obviously no one to blame. But I might have been more careful and not gone and stood by the tree, or she should have taken more care. And so there's still blame about that. And if there seems absolutely no one to blame, then we blame God. I do think the whole creation of God is so that we've got someone to blame. Self has someone to blame, the ultimate self, who's in charge of everything. Because if he's omnipotent, you know, he's always at fault, isn't he? Or she is, whoever you've made God. Because self has made, I mean, it just seems glaringly obvious here that self made God in its own image, just an omnipotent self, an omniscient self, an omnipresent self, which is what self really wants to be. So self has made up God and then wants to get to know him so that he can be more powerful, because all self really wants is control, which is power. I will say again, there's a paradox here, because this can seem like, so, well, what's in it for me? It's just, you're talking about totally powerless. I'll be powerless. No. So in the absence of the whole notion of being personally powerful, powerlessness is dead along with power. If there is no personal power, there can be no personal powerlessness, which of course is what self fears dreadfully. I'll lose what little power, what little control I have over my life. I could lose that, and self will hold on for dear life to what little power it has. And there is neither. There is the appearance of power, but it's all empty. So was it not the wine's fault? No, the wine can't, you can't blame the wine. The wine can't help being wine, can it? The wine can't help there was drinking of it. It's not the wine's fault, no. You're really clutching at this desperate clutching at straws to blame the wine. But equally, it's not your fault either.
Another question from YouTube, from Persona or something. Hi team, I keep hearing that nothing is happening. And it's probably the one thing that I can't wrap my hand around.
No.
To me, it seems like a million things are happening every second.
Yeah. Who said that?
There's someone from YouTube.
Persona. Okay. Yeah, it's just what I said earlier. Yeah, there is a million. Wow. There's trillions of apparent happenings. I mean, we don't even have any idea about the size of this universe, or whether it has a size even. So if you know, we're talking about happenings, how many happenings are happening? Unimaginable numbers. And that is what's happening. And that what's happening isn't happening. So it's simply not one or the other. This is what we're really speaking of, is the end of the one who has to, I have to pin this down. Now, is it or isn't it? That's what I want to know. And I'm not resting till I find out. So is it or isn't it? Well, you can keep asking for as long as you've got, and there are no answers to that question. That's the answer. It's unanswerable. It's unknowable. It is and it isn't. It's both and it's neither. It's not one or the other. It's not even one and the other. There is no one or the other. Or there is no one and the other. There's just no knowing. So it's not that there's nothing happening. It's that what is happening isn't happening. And there is what's happening, and what's happening isn't happening. Is and isn't are not two. Well, that is, I mean, that is the bottom line. There's nowhere else to go with that. That is the end.
You're an asshole.
There's nothing to get from that. So but I do get whoever asked that question, I do get your point, because you can't find the nothing happening. You can only find the what's happening. That's what's happening. That's all there is. The isn't, well, don't ask me how the isn't is obvious. The only word I've got is obvious, because you can't see it, you can't know it, you can't find it, you can't hear it. It's just that what is heard, what is seen, what is known is all empty. That's not happening. Because of course, emptiness can't happen. You know, nothing can't happen. It's nothing. But all the happenings are nothing happening. I don't know. You could just keep talking about this. So it doesn't get anywhere.
Okay, another comment or a question, I don't know. Team, I'm trying to escape my own discomfort. Wish me luck, question mark. This is from
Well, yeah. Yeah, of course I would wish luck. This although you know this message doesn't acknowledge you and what you can do to relieve your discomfort, it is immensely compassionate. That's the only reason you'd ever speak about this, is you're compassionate about humanity and about human beings and about the discomfort, how uncomfortable and painful and torturous it can be to be me. That's the compassion in speaking about this. So yeah, I have no hesitation in wishing you luck. But not to escape. There is no escape. Because that needs me to escape. I am my escape plan. That's what I am. And you're always trying to escape from here, and there's nowhere to go. There's no escape. No possibility. I didn't escape. It's much more like falling in than escaping. But then you fall in and you don't fall in anyway. Is that all the questions, Luciana?
No, there are some more, but they're sort of comments. I can read them, of course.
What else? Yeah. Okay.
Each thing that is happening is so meaningless that it's like nothing is happening. This is from YouTube, from Ear Monk Mystic Music. Another one from Thai or something. Literally nothing is happening. The nothing is happening, nothing happening. I'm not sure I read it correctly. When you say that there is no escape, this is such a, I don't know, paradoxically, there is such a freedom and a fear as well, but it's like a sweet fear, you know, like no escape.
No escape. No, no. I have. Well, I just know that that's what I was after. Yeah. It's really most of my energy was in getting out of here, always moving away, always trying to get somewhere else, and there simply isn't anywhere to get to. I mean, I'm not. It might sound harsh, but it's not at all. It's just stating the obvious. Is it not obvious that this is all there is? If it isn't, then it isn't. But it is bloody obvious. I mean, outrageously so. And we're not talking about anything else. So all the stuff about, you know, absolute and relative, happening, not happening, is and isn't, it's really all semantics, because when there is only this, all of that becomes obvious. Don't ask me how. I've no idea, but it just is, because there isn't anything more, you know, and or to compare it with. This isn't in comparison with another this, you know, there isn't a that to compare this with. There is just this. The whole notion of that is me, you know, that's in the future, that's in the past, that's over there, that's in another country, that's in a new job, that's in a new relationship. That's where that is. And that is imagination or memory, nothing more. And that is always this. That is not somewhere else, is it? It's never. It's never in another place.
Another question from YouTube, and then I lead you again. We have 10 minutes just to say.
Okay, yeah, 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, this is from YouTube. Was there any mourning for Tim?
Yeah.
Either before or after the event?
Oh. There was a lot of, yeah, there was, yeah. Yeah, it was, I could say at one point I didn't think the tears would stop. And most of the mourning was for how hard I tried, you know, for all my efforts, which was it was so undeniable that they were for nothing, you know, that they were all for nothing. You know how hard you've tried to be good enough, to fit in, to make your parents proud, to make yourself proud, to make your partner proud, to make your spouse proud, to make your kids proud. All that pride. And I tell you what, I mean, it's a massive relief, but it's an enormous loss. It's so obvious that that's what I lived on. That was the energy of me, was trying to maintain and enhance all of that shit. It really is shit as well. Dreadful. Yeah, so there's a lot of mourning. So was it before or during? Well, before it was just, I'd call it more suffering. You know, just stories, but suffering and more suffering. Oh, woe is me. That's the story of self. But yeah, in the seeming loss of self, even though there's no loss, it was really for just how hard I tried. And also not just for the loss of that pride and that, because of course pride and guilt go together. So, you know, you're thrilled to not have guilt anymore, but there's the none of my achievements, none of that learning, none of that understanding, it was all for nothing. Yeah. Well, I'd be surprised if there weren't a few tears or a lot. All for nothing. This is all for nothing. And that is the unconditional love. All is nothing. This is all.
That was beautiful. And also this guy or girl, I don't know, the name is Jab or something like this. Edit a comment. Thank you. Tears are flowing now.
Oh. Nice.
Eligio is here. Or
are we going to let him speak again? He might be really, he could be very insulting this time.
no.
Yeah, go on. We'll let him then.
You're letting me speak? Okay.
Yeah, I'll let him.
Okay, thank you for letting me speak one more time.
Okay.
So you brought it up earlier. This might seem like an insult, but it's not an insult.
Failed.
You said earlier that I heard that you were an astrophysicist. Can you tell me how long ago the Big Bang happened, please?
Yeah, I think it's between 14 and 15 minutes ago.
Yes.
Something
You're
like
close. You're close.
Mm.
It was actually between 14 and 15 billion years ago, but you were close.
I knew it was billion years or minutes. I couldn't remember when. I mean, that is how significant the Big Bang Theory is, really, isn't it? To living life, really.
Kinda.
You know, because now I know the origins of the universe, my life is so much better. I don't think so.
Thank you, Tim.
And yet, of course, you know, self loves knowledge, especially if I've got knowledge that most others don't have. I'm not sure it is that long, actually, Alicia. I'm going to question that. I'm going to have to Google that in a minute.
Go ahead, test me.
I don't think it's 14. It's not 14.
Yes, it is.
Isn't it?
It's 13.8 billion, I believe.
There we go. We're getting more accurate now. 13.8.
The Bible says 6,000 years. Anyway.
Yeah, I did know that. I used to be an RE teacher, believe it or not. I was a religious education teacher.
Oh, were you?
For a little while.
Oh, interesting. So did you believe that 6,000 year thing? Did you believe it?
Did I believe it?
Yeah.
No.
But you were teaching it.
No, well, in the UK, unlike America, we're slightly more libertarian here. I don't know if you realize that. And we have more than one faith. We're a multi-faith country, and so every child in comprehensive education has to learn the basics, the rudiments of 6 world faiths.
Oh, okay. That's good. So, that's actually a good thing. I think that's a good thing.
Oh no, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was a good thing. Yeah. So most of my RE teaching was just challenging prejudice. That's really all my lessons were. I taught them virtually no facts about religion, but I did challenge all their prejudices every lesson.
It's fun to do that.
Which I enjoyed doing that.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome. 13.8, I've got it. 13.8 minutes ago. And here it is. I do remember, I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, I just remember Tony doing that because I used to go to Tony Parson all the time. I just think I remember him going, Big Bang. And this is the Big Bang.
Oh, actually, there was a comment here. Someone says something. Just a second. Maybe I can find it about Tony or this Big Bang. I don't know if this is important, Tim. Actually.
Well, I can tell you with absolute certainty, the Big Bang is of no significance whatsoever.
Okay, I cannot find the comment.
What you know about the Big Bang Theory?
Honestly, nothing.
It's but I mean, yeah, it just won't make any difference. It's nice. I am still interested in science, though. I can watch science on TV, you know, science documentaries, with more interest than I ever could. Really nice story. I mean, because the thing about science stories is, at least, you know, they're based on some apparent evidence, which, you know, unlike, I can't do the stuff that's all made up. Can't be doing with that. You know, I've imagined this, I've thought that. Oh, big deal. It's just not that interesting, is it? You know, imaginary stuff. I have lost a lot of interest in that. I can't read, you know, fantasy. I used to quite like fantasy novels and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not saying that's how it needs to be, but I'm not very interested in fantasy anymore. That seems to have died.
Yeah, we are almost. Yeah, it's almost
7.
Well,
yeah.
Never mind. 6 p.m. UK time. I'm sorry I couldn't read all of those comments and questions. It's not intentionally, really. I do my best.
Oh no, I appreciate you doing it. It makes it easier for me than, because otherwise.
Yeah, no, I just skipped some that I didn't like. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Yeah, the best way is to jump here in the Zoom room, you know, and just take this opportunity to speak with Tim or with some other in person.
Yeah, I could plug my website, couldn't I? Should I do that quickly?
Sure. Yeah.
I've got a lovely
website. You have a meeting tomorrow?
Oh, you plug my meeting tomorrow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also on Monday, but this Monday there was no meeting.
At the moment, I'm just going to do meetings on a Thursday. So I have regular meetings every Thursday. If you go to Tim Cliss this, otherwise called Deafening Silence, then all the events will be on there and the link will be on there.
Mm.
And if you haven't seen my website yet, which is amazing, then you should. My friend Dimitri, who's here, made that for me, and it's absolutely brilliant. I have no qualms about saying it's the best website I've seen. I just love it. It's better than I could have ever imagined. So
I like the picture of you in the waterfall. I just want to say that on your website.
Yeah,
the picture on you on the rock is good.
On the rock, yeah. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks very much for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luciana.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Thank you, Harry.